trying to suggest that a plumber is the guy he's fighting for. How many plumbers you know making $250,000 a year?
So why raise it at all, especially given the fact that 100 million people in this country own stock and would be affected?
Well, Charlie, what I've said is that I would look at raising the capital gains tax for purposes of fairness. We saw an article today which showed that the top 50 hedge fund managers made $29 billion last year. $29 billion for 50 individuals. And part of what has happened is that those who are able to work the stock market and amass huge fortunes on capital gains are paying a lower tax rate than their secretaries. That's not fair. Subprime lending started off as a good idea, helping Americans buy homes who previously couldn't afford to. But I just want you to be clear, it's not that I want to punish your success, I just want to make sure that everybody who is behind you, that they've got a chance at success too. And I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
But the Supreme Court never ventured into the issues of redistribution of wealth and sort of more basic issues of political and economic justice in the society. That generally the Constitution is a charter of negative liberties, says what the states can't do to you, says what the federal government can't do to you, but it doesn't say what the federal government or the state government must do on your behalf.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
Which passages of Scripture should guide our public policy? Should we go with Leviticus, which suggests slavery is okay? Or we could go with Deuteronomy, which suggests stoning your child if he strays from the faith? Or should we just stick to the Sermon on the Mount, a passage that is so radical that it's doubtful that our own Defense Department would survive its application? Folks haven't been reading the Bible.
I'm the only major candidate who opposed this war from the beginning, and as president, I will end it. Second, I will cut tens of billions of dollars in wasteful spending. I will cut investments in unproven missile defense systems. I will not weaponize space. I will slow our development of future combat systems. And I will institute an independent Defense Priorities Board to ensure that the quadrennial defense review is not used to justify unnecessary spending. Third, I will set a goal of a world without nuclear weapons. To seek that goal, I will not develop new nuclear weapons. I will seek a global ban on the production of fissile material, and I will negotiate with Russia to take our ICBMs off hair trigger alert and to achieve deep cuts in our nuclear arsenals.
We can't, we don't mind the Republicans joining us. They can come for the ride, but they got to sit in back.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to see how well we do in this election. And I think a lot of it is going to depend on whether we still have some support, not only from Democrats but also Republicans, but they're going to be paying attention to this election. And if Latinos sit out the election, instead of saying we're going to punish our enemies and we're going to reward our friends who stand with us on issues that are important to us, if they don't see that kind of upsurge in voting in this election, then I think it's going to be harder. And that's why I think it's so important that people focus on voting on November 2nd.
People have been beaten down so long, and they feel so betrayed by government.
Well, it's not surprising then that they get bitter and they cling to guns or religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them, or a way to explain their frustrations.
Then, Elko, I need you. I need you to go out and talk to your friends and talk to your neighbors. I want you to talk to them whether they're independent or whether they are Republican. I want you to argue with them and get in their face. And
if elected President of the United States, would you agree in your first 100 days to meet with a delegation of representatives from these various community organizations that campaign for community values? Could they count on you in your first 100 days to sit down with them?
Yes, but let me even say, before I even get inaugurated, during the transition, we're going to be calling all of you in to help us shape the agenda. We're going to be having meetings all across the country with community organizations so that you have input into the agenda for the next presidency of the United States of America. Well, the first thing I'd do as president is sign the Freedom of Choice Act. That's the first thing that I'd do. Then I'm absolutely convinced we're not just going to win an election, but more importantly, we're going to transform this nation. Thank you very much. I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care plan.